talking about the future. You're talking about some unknowns and some intricacies that will be impacting the way that we live. And you cannot discount the foreign element even in that plan.
Gotcha. Okay. Listen, and this is the beauty of having more and more of these round tables, because there's so much more we need to deal with in terms of the economy.
I would like to add one final point. Right?
Sure.
Our savings rate is abysmal. The average bank account is probably $500, right? National insurance will go broke. It will not go broke, but technically speaking, national insurance will go broke in 2024-25, right?
Okay.
What it means, we're going to have to increase the contribution rate. So it's effectively a tax on businesses again, and contribution rates, right? Now look, I understand we are planning on privatizing Patelco, and I understand NBEC next, right? I submit, look, it's going to take some time to develop a plan. I mean, we have a pretty decent document that we can start with tomorrow. But for the privatization of these government corporations, I submit that we should develop a fund. A portion of the sales proceeds should go into that fund for the future generation of this country. I mean, what I envision happening, we get the money from the sales of these entities, and then, they go into this black hole, and then in 5-10 years, when our children time to develop, there's nothing to sell. And so there's some things that we can do immediately to start the ball.
Okay. We're going to have more round tables. We're going to look at things in terms of a new economic agenda. It comes down to our viewers going to be, look, what can we do? How can we handle the global crisis, for example, that's going on? So we're going to have to deal with that with more of the round tables coming, because that's, we talk about the big ideas, the big plan, but eventually it comes down to the family, the mother, the father, trying to decide what to do. And folks, I guess what I'm saying is, I promise you, we will get to that. We'll get to things like the middle class family who has the first child and wants to move forward. How do you do that and save money? How do you save money, period, and live in this country? But
you mentioned middle class. If you notice, right?
Tony, if you don't let me end the section.
I know, anyway, that's one thing, right? That's this, right? But you mentioned the middle class, right? I submit to you, our middle class is shrinking on a daily basis. And once that happens, you have social chaos. And we're seeing it every single day.
There needs to be something done now.
Now.
Okay, all right. Let's move on to a fairly easy area, and believe me, I am kidding. Educational reform. Educational reform. Again, a blueprint for the future of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas states, for too long, our educational system has produced too many functionally illiterate Bahamians. This is setting the stage for challenges both now and in the future. We must address this if we are to ensure that Bahamians are positioned to own our economy. And it's amazing how that concept of us owning our economy is just, wow, we could actually do that, but we can't. We can't. Question: do you agree that Bahamians should value a sound education and embrace the benefits of lifelong learning? That the link between an educated people and a successful national development strategy is strengthened and should be reflected at all levels in our formal educational system, taking root at the preschool level all the way to tertiary education. Anastasia, how do you react to that?
Well, certainly, Dr. Wisdom, I think that anybody that disagrees with that would certainly not have a love for the development of the country in mind if they would disagree. But the question really is then, how do we plan to achieve that? And, I think we must consider that we have been using the same educational system for some 35 years. Not much has changed. And so we need to now begin to look at the times around us, and we need to begin to look at developing a system that suits the Bahamian, the real Bahamian, and encompasses culture. How do you get many young men? I mean, I know young men that refuse to go to class, but on the day that they go to the John Canoe Shack, they will be there all hours. How do we harness that sort of spirit into education? And beginning at the preschool level, that really is the question. And so I think we must develop a cultural system that teaches them history, including where we've been, but also prepares them for the plan that we talk about. And if that begins at the preschool level, why aren't we teaching our kids to use computers, to speak languages from the preschool level so that they're ready for a world of globalization? Okay? And we need to also consider the school's role in nurturing a society that has been broken by the nuclear family not being around. And we know that when the family fails, somebody has to pick up the slack. And so we must now begin to look at a system that allows our young people to build a sense also of national pride and teaches them to have an identity, to know who they are. So that ultimately the vision for this educational system will be to harness whatever talent, unleash whatever potential is in you to be the best that you can be at whatever it is that you do.
You think the educational system can do some of that?
Yes, it can.
Okay.
It can.
Andrew?
I agree with her for the most part, and just wanted to sort of interject that from my point of view, the education system in this country is presently broken. It's in a terrible state.
Okay, again, you know, it's easy to say that.
I'm going to talk to the specifics, you know, and so I think it's time that we sort of even take the education system and put it on pause, and you know that there's a pause button, because there are kids who are being, you know, advanced every year, who cannot read, who cannot write. They're 12th grade students, you know, and we need to sort of press a pause button and make sure that there's 320, 350,000 of us. You know, we're competing out there. Everybody counts. Everybody has to play a part in this economy if we're going to be competitive. And so we need to press pause and bring in, if we have to bring in the retired teachers, we have to bring in everyone to make sure, you know, there's no way you're supposed to be in grade 7 and you can't read it. We have to sit there and work with you. We have to invest that kind, put that kind of investment into the system, and we need to do it now.
Again, Dr. Rollins, it comes back to this thing, you know, why is it going to happen? How can it happen? Beautiful. How can we do this in this current environment?
Well, I believe that we have to reintroduce more of a merit-based system into the educational system in our country. And by that I mean, I think for those who do not see the need for, say, a remaking of what they would call the government high school, they're sadly mistaken in my view. And I say that because I think that when we open it up to, that word competition is a beautiful thing. Some people are afraid of it. But as far as educating our people, there has to